Welcome to the Big Room Podcast. I'm your host, Jill Bender.
And now Mel Cobian, and today we're going to talk about 5 tips to stop procrastinating.
Ooh, I know I'm guilty of this, and I am guessing if you're not guilty of this, then you are probably part of like 1% of the population.
Jill, do you thrive off of procrastination as if like you had a task to do at the end of the week and you keep putting it off every single day and then you all of a sudden have 24 hours? Does that motivate you?
I mean, you make it sound so positive. I guess it motivates me. Yes, I am guilty is what I would consider it. Guilty for sure of doing this. As right now, as I'm a little bit older, I have learned a lot of lessons and I try to get ahead of the game on stuff. And I do love the feeling of having my stuff sort of completed, but I will definitely find myself sitting there at the last few hours trying to finalize everything. How about you, Mel? Are you the 1% that does not procrastinate on anything?
I should show you my Google Calendar. Every hour of my day is allocated for. I get notifications on my watch, time to move on to your next task. So I would say I am definitely the oddball out, but I've always been that way. If I wait, or if I have like when I was in school and I had an exam, I did procrastinate sometimes. You know, I had a job, things like that. And I was just the unhappiest human being. You did not want to be in front of me. It was bad.
In general, when you're younger, or because you waited till the last minute?
I just kept thinking that I could catch up on all the readings that I had to do. And I was like, I'll just read tomorrow. Like, I'll get that chapter read tomorrow. And then I would go to work and then I'd be tired. So I would not get around to the readings. And then exam day would come around and then I'd just be screwed.
Yeah, I think anything that involved reading, you just can't wait till the last minute. And I am definitely guilty of that in school. I often was waiting till the last minute to get anything done. But when there's reading involved, you're like, I'm screwed. You can't fake anything because you didn't read. That one's the worst one. So I did learn that, I think, pretty early on, where I would get the reading done and then I wouldn't get the rest of it done. And then I'd forget half of what I read by the time I thought I could cram for the final thing at the last minute. And I hate procrastinating, but I still do it.
Yeah, I definitely adapted the strategy of inventorying my time. Like, time is the one thing you cannot get back. So time is that one asset that I value the most. So for me, when I am not getting the task done, I just sit there like, what the heck did I do? Did I invest my time? Did I waste it? But that's just me. And I know that most people don't inventory their life that way. So I would say that that's one of my strengths, but it's also my weakness because then I get too caught up on doing stuff that I forget to enjoy or take time off. So
see,
balance.
that's definitely a benefit of procrastinating is when I get my stuff done, I sometimes find myself being bored. I'm like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do now? I got all my stuff done. I mean, it doesn't happen all that often anyway, but I do run into that every once in a while. I'm like, well, now what do I do? Especially because I'm working for myself and we have daily tasks because we're posting online and we have daily tasks that we do have to get done every day. And when I get all those done and then I even do some of the other stuff that I wanted to get done, like research for the podcast or, research for other stuff, all of a sudden I'm like, is that it? Like, I'm just free for the rest of the day? This is such a weird feeling. It's a good feeling.
Oh my gosh.
I've been getting better. I've been getting a lot better because last year was my first year of being an entrepreneur full time. And you're not going to survive if you're completely behind in trying to catch up all the time. So I have learned to organize my time better and create tasks that, okay, this is what we're going to get done here. And then we can add in certain things as the time goes. And I have a son, so I have to make sure that I block out that time so I can have focused time with him, because that's not fair to him if I'm trying to catch up while he's, sitting here waiting for me. So I have gotten a lot better. Okay, well, let's get into these 5.
What's tip number 1?
Tip number 1, admit your laziness. Now, we want to be careful with this one because, as Mel and I have talked about before on this podcast, you don't want to have negative self-talk about yourself. So don't ever say, I'm lazy. You want to admit and say, I have been lazy. So you're not directly calling yourself something. Once you call yourself that, the universe doesn't care if it's true or not. That's what they're hearing. And then, you're not going to have very positive results from that. So admit that you have been lazy.
Yeah.
And
all that means is that you haven't been taking action. So now you're procrastinating. So you're not lazy, right? I am lazy is an affirmation that you are that person by definition. And that's not who we are. Things happen. Things do happen in our life. And we call ourselves out. I have been lazy. And hopefully, you realize you're procrastinating and you start taking action.
Yeah. I get it. Especially when you've been working all day or you come home and you're like, I don't want to do anything else. And so it's whether or not you can overcome that. But ways that you can help overcome this is by changing what you're saying. Is, okay, you admit it, I have been lazy. You change it to, I am no longer going to be lazy. And just keep telling yourself that and make it true. Tip number 2, make your goals bite-sized. So what does that mean? When you have, let's say your goal is, I want to make $100,000. You don't want to lessen that goal. You're not making it bite-sized like, I'm just going to make 25. You want to keep your goal of 100, but break it down so it's a smaller obtainable goal in a shorter amount of time. So there's 12 months in a year. How much do you need to make each month to hit that $100,000 goal? And you could go even further in. How much do you need to make per week? How much do you need to make per day? And focus on those short little mini goals instead of looking at that big goal that, might seem unobtainable at the time because it's far away and you don't see it as a reality.
So having belief in your goal is super important. Otherwise, the lack of belief is going to keep you from taking action. And often people go 100%, like they go full, all in to their goals, which is great, but that's also how you burnt out because you can't keep up with it. So James Clear wrote a book called Atomic Habits. He talked about how people get so motivated to start a goal, but the reason they fail is because they don't build the atomic habits. And that's doing, one bite-sized goal at a time is how you build the habits, because you become resilient, your belief starts growing, so you stay consistent.
Yeah. And if your goal is at the end of the year to hit this number, you might try procrastinating all the way to the end of the year. You're like, okay, well, now it's the end of the year. I forgot I was supposed to make $100,000. How do I do that really quick?
Yeah. Oh, OnlyFans.
There you go. Then you're only left with a handful of choices.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
But yeah, when you have a goal that's bigger goals, we get paralysis by analysis. It makes you demotivated when it looks too big and it's too far away. So you have to figure out, how can I take action today? And that's one of the ways, is by breaking it down into little bite-sized pieces. Pieces. Like if you got, I don't even need to explain this further, but if you had a steak brought to you, are you going to look at it and go, how do I get this whole thing eaten? No, you're just going to break it apart and you're going to cut it up into bite-sized pieces. You're going to go one at a time. And that's what you need to do with your goals. Tip number 3, find your why. We talk about this a lot, and this comes up constantly with our students, or for me, for sure, I'm super, super into motivating people by really making them find their whys, because that was one of the biggest things that changed my life last year, was writing down my my top 10 reasons of why I wanted to make a lot more money. And it's not enough to just say I want to make a bunch of money. You have to have something behind it. So ask yourself, why do I want to make a bunch of money? Okay, I want to make a bunch of money because I want a bigger house. Why do you want a bigger house? Well, I have 3 kids. I don't have enough room for them. I want to give them room to play. Okay, but why do you want that? Why do you want that? Keep asking yourself why and break it down, and you will find that you have this crazy list, and you're going to get to the ultimate goal of what's really driving you, and then hold on to that and continuously remind yourself of that why, and it's going to fuel you to get to your goal. Do you have anything to add to that, Mel?
Actually, I was going to ask you, maybe we should give them an example and maybe share our whys, because there's this exercise of when you want to get to the root of something. So the reason why maybe you want to start an online business or whatever the goal may be, ask yourself why 5 times. And usually by the 5th why, you'll know why you even want to. So at first it may start off because I want to pay off debt. But why do you want to pay off debt? And then, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So let's maybe share our whys. What's your why, Joe? Why did you start an online business?
Oh man, I did write down 20 goals because I knew I wanted to make more money. I wanted to pay off debt. It was all really generic answers as to why I wanted to make more money, but my mentor said write down 20, and it took a long time. I sat here all night one night. I had a giant sticky note hanging on the wall with a Sharpie marker because I thought it'd be more fun if I was writing on a giant piece of paper. And it was a painfully slow process because I could whip through, 8 to 10 reasons, and then it got harder. Like, okay, why? What? Where? But what got really fun was later in the year, as I started making more money, I went through and I was crossing off the whys, and it was so fun to cross them off. And some of them, I didn't even know I wanted them that bad. I was just putting them on there at that point because I couldn't come up with 20. I was like, yeah, that'd be cool to have. That would be cool to have. And I actually manifested them, I guess, because I did obtain some of those, like, well, let's just throw them out there. So my current whys, Mel, you're like, yeah, that's why I asked you 5 minutes ago. Okay. And I can actually, whatever. But, so I did, the other day, Mel, I did come up with a list. I managed to get 12 whys on my list, and that even was hard because last year I had hit so many of the whys. I was like, I need a new list. What's my new motivations? And the bigger house is still on there. I have not gotten my bigger house, but I got pretty specific with my bigger house. Like, it was always a bigger house, in-ground pool, in a golf cart friendly neighborhood was my specifics, and it had to have kids for my son to play with. But now I also added that I was going to have really good neighbors. and it was a house that I was going to feel very safe in, like a neighborhood house. I was going to just feel safe. So I added a few things of what I wanted. I think I also wanted a hot tub in there too. I wanted, okay, so here's a why that you guys are going to be like, oh boy, here's the true personalities coming out of Jill. I have on there that I don't want to have to worry about money, but I also want to be able to do some ridiculous things with money. Like, if I wanted to fill my pool with bath bombs or fill my pool with Orbeez, and I would have a team that'll come and clean all that out because there's going to be a bitch on my pool. But I just want to do super fun. Like, how fun if that was my son's birthday party and he had his friends over and they just dumped, 1,000 or 5,000 bath bombs in there to see what, like, that would be so fun. I think it'd be super fun. So I want money for ridiculous reasons sometimes, but
You
that's
want
some
money to do YouTube videos. That sounds like a YouTube video.
it is totally a YouTube video, and I've seen it on a
Yeah.
YouTube video. Yeah, I want money to do super fun, over the top things. Um, yeah, and I want to be able to donate more. You know, I have some of the, I think, things that a lot of people have on there, but I truly do want to be able to do. And then I added some ridiculous ones. How about you?
Nice. Well, the
Yours
bath
are going
bomb
to be
one.
probably way more boring.
Probably. uh, well, I think for those of you that, don't know me on a personal level, my wife is in the military, so we're constantly moving. So at the root of everything, I realized that what I want more than anything is to have that ability to even have her consider getting out, because she still has 10 more years to go, to serve. And that means that I have to move like at least 3 more times. So I want that dream home. I want that the best place for us. And knowing that I don't get to have that because she's in the military. Yeah, so that's what I want. It's just the ability to be able to present to my wife, really, like, hey, like, you don't really have to stay in the military for 10 more years. Like, we could actually like find our dream home and, put roots down. So for me, that's kind of where it goes for me. Is I want the independence. I want to be able to give my wife independence outside of the military more than anything. And then from there, really, I just want to help people experience what we get to experience. I want to be able to wake up and have that impact on people. And so my why really is trying to help people heal from, their mind, their body, their soul, through financial freedom. Because you and I both know that you can be super spiritual, and be into fitness, go do and strengthen all these pillars of life, but the one that kind of impacts the rest is finances. So until people are liberated financially, then people start waking up to that purpose. So yeah, maybe a little bit more boring than filling up a pool full of bath bombs, But I look forward to the day we get to record that YouTube video and replaying this episode.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah, like I want to give iPhones out at Halloween, and
Oh, guys, just so you know, Jill would give out a house if
I
she could.
would.
Yeah.
I would.
So this impact, I think our why does come down to like having that impact on people, helping them change their lives, and obviously
Yeah.
enjoying being able to do whatever we want as well. So it really is just freedom.
Tip number 4, remove the distractions in your life. And Mel, I think you're going to love to talk about this more than I am, but this kind of goes with our spring cleaning a little bit. Stuff that's here weighing on you is going to affect your mind, but this is a little bit more of remove distractions in your life, like go put your phone down and stick it in a drawer if you have to. Go put it down and then focus on whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing at that time. Whatever you're trying to get done, focus. And if it is just hanging out with your kids, put your phone somewhere so you're not constantly distracted by alerts and little things that are going to pop up and draw your attention away from, that time that you're supposed to be spending doing whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. So tip number 5 actually is very closely related to tip number 4 with removing distractions in your life. And it's the Pomodoro technique. And what that is you do one task, you do it for 25 minutes, completely undistracted. Put your phone away. What I used to do when I worked my 9 to 5, and I didn't do this for like the first 2 years, and it was even more distracting when I was at my house for some reason, was the little alerts that would pop up in the corner from Outlook mail, or because we were working at home, now we had Teams chat, popping up. and I'm trying to work, and Teams, people are messaging me and asking me to help them with their work. I'm like, yeah, I'll help you. Okay. And I'll help you. And now I'm distracted from my own. So I did finally, it was the last 3 months, I think, before I quit my job for good. But I finally disabled the notifications on Teams chat and on Outlook. Oh my God, my brain worked so much better. I could focus and I could get one thing done at a time. That was life changing. So even if out of anything else, you just shut off those notifications, I promise you, you will be able to work in such a more focused manner and get so much more done without those constant distractions.
Yeah. I actually, anytime I'm working on a task, I think I've said this like 2 or 3 times in the pod now that I have 24-hour sticky notes. And then like I inventory my time. So I'll literally like turn to Alexa and I'll be like, Alexa, set an alarm for this time. And she'll be like, alarm set. And then so I'm working and then the alarm goes off and I'm like, oh dang, I like, didn't do it, or I forgot about the task. So then I'm like, why did I get that task done? That was the whole point. And sure enough, I opened a new tab on my browser and then got distracted with other stuff. So distractions are the end of taking action. They put you back into procrastination mode. So even when you're working on your computer on a task, close off all your tabs and just get that task done.
Yeah, and Mel and I are in a lot of WhatsApp chats.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I will I had to disable that one as well, but I will tell you it is very annoying that I have to wait for Mel Cobian to get back to me because she's doing focused work. She's not replying to my WhatsApp messages.
I just want everybody to understand that because I don't even text my wife back. And she even knows this, but if she was here, she'd be like, yeah, she doesn't even text me back. So when I get messages from people, I get hundreds of messages like every single day on social media. Then we have these top affiliate chat. Oh, sorry. Then we have these WhatsApp groups chats, and there's hundreds of messages every single day. And obviously Jill's one of like my priority messages, but even with Jill, I get back to Jill when I am scheduled to go like, okay, now I should probably get back to Jill.
She has a sticky note and I'm on a time slot, I bet. It's 4:00. Respond to Jill.
That's usually when I respond to you, right?
Yeah. No, it is funny though. I'm like, man, out of anybody I talk to, I always have to wait for her. Yeah, it's good. It's good that you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but like it's not personal. And I just wanted to highlight it because I know I have some students that kind of maybe expect for or actually do respond to them. And I just want you guys to know that I usually don't do that. So when I say I don't usually respond, I usually don't. But I obviously, Jill, you're on my approved contacts list.
Yeah. So back to the Pomodoro technique. It is you do one task and only one task for 25 minutes, completely just focused on that task. And like I said, remove the distractions and focus. And then you take 5 minutes and you do something where it's not a focused task. So don't jump on a call with anybody. Don't check your WhatsApp. Don't check your Teams meetings or your emails because those are also focused tasks. So take 5 minutes, go step outside, walk around the block, or maybe sit, close your eyes, and just let your brain decompress for those 5 minutes. And then you're back on for 25 minutes. And you can set an alarm so you know you did your 25 minutes of time and then get back into it and then take your rest and, go back and forth. And that is the Pomodoro technique. And some deep breathing in your 5 minutes, just unfocused tasks. Those were the 5 tips to stop procrastination. I hope those were helpful. Guys, I did want to talk to you about something really quick and that you can help the Bigger Room podcast tremendously is if you go and leave us a review. We would appreciate it so much. Reviews do a lot to push out our podcast. It spreads it to more people that can use this information from us. And again, we'd be so grateful to you. So thank you. And we'll see you next time.